So very wonderful to see all of you. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. For those of you that don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a great December 25th, which was just a lovely Thursday. But Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Okay, no, not that part. And Happy New Year. We have a New Year coming up, and there's a lot of exciting things in the works, so that should be great. But the New Year is going to be wonderful. So looking forward to that. But I just wanted to kind of... thanks, Ralph. Same to you. Happy, wonderful, prosperous New Year to you as well. I just wanted to kind of touch base with everybody. I plan on doing very little the rest of this week. I will probably only look at the charts for a few moments. When we have Christmas in the middle of the week and then New Year's in the middle of the week, there's just not that much we can really do. So I don't really expect markets to move a ton, although they definitely could surprise. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to see too much crazy activity. But I just want to make sure that everybody's up to speed on some of the setups that we're looking at. So let's talk about what those are. And how everything's looking. So let's get right down to the nitty gritty. But again, welcome to everybody. Super happy New Year. Very nice to see you all. Okay, good. Yeah, good, Mel. We'll talk about that in just a moment. As you can see really quick here, here's the calendar for this week, and there's just basically nothing. So we have a little bit of news tomorrow. But there's just really no significant news coming out for happy holidays to you, by the way, Mel, as well. So there's really no important news this week. It's just kind of a dead week. Last week was kind of a dead week. We had a little bit of movement. This week will be kind of one of those as well. So, but I wanted to just make sure that everybody is aware of what we're looking at. There's only just a couple of currencies I want to bring up. 2 or 3 currencies, that's it. And let's just talk about what those are. But one thing I wanted to make sure to point out is this little detail right here. This is getting pretty interesting and pretty important. This is the dollar index. We've talked about this quite a bit. You remember the dollar index has this big trend line that goes all the way back to 1985, and it's just been coming down, testing. And now, if we zoom in just a little bit, you can see that we have kind of plowed through that trend line right there. Looks like we're going to make a nice open above everything. It looks like the month will pretty easily close above that trend line. And the other thing I wanted to make sure of is that we could clear this 90 level, and we're just right. Actually, the level I talked about was about the 89.30 to 89.50 area. And we're above that, and we're also above 90. So it looks like this dollar index is pretty interesting. It's making a nice little push here. The one thing that we have to look at, though, is the dollar index has been on a massive push for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It's been really just kind of going strong here. That was where our first bullish candle happened. That was nothing too interesting, but these guys right here have really been the big movers, really the last 4 months or so. So it's definitely, the dollar index is definitely wide open for some reversal, or not reversals as much as just some retracement, a little bit of pullback. But it is above those significant levels, and we'll just kind of be watching this very, very closely as we go. So let's keep an eye on that. But it has made that move. And it's above some of these highs. It's breaking some of these resistance levels back from 2009, and it's breaking this long-term descending trend line. So that'll be something to really keep a close eye on as we go. Okay, so the only pairs that I say are of much interest at this moment to keep an eye on are a couple. Number one, the euro dollar. We've had a euro dollar trade from 123.50, and we've been holding on to it for 120. So it's a nice little trade. It's in some great profit. And the euro dollar is now heading into this 120 area. Are we going to hit 120? I would say very, very likely. Great probability of that. And from there, we might start looking for a little bit of the market to kind of solidify, give us a little bit of a balance. There's going to be a lot of pressure to kind of, good point there, Mel. And there's going to be a lot of kind of push on this euro dollar, and we're going to see how it does at the 120 level. Between 119 and 120, there's going to be a lot of support. And so we're going to keep an eye on this one, but we're still in this trade, and we're going to just let this thing continue lower and lower and lower and get us into that 120 area. So I really like this. We're going to let this run, and you can see that our 1 hour chart will kind of continue to set up and improve, and we might get some nice opportunities to buy some support. Maybe just below 120, just below 120, to kind of just get a little bit of retracement, a little bit of pullback. We'll see how things go, but it's kind of in those high teens, kind of that 120 / high teens, 119, 118 area, that things are going to start getting pretty interesting on this euro dollar. So we're going to keep an eye on it for the moment. We're going to let our 120 350 trade continue to run and make us some nice profits like it's doing. So it's looking great. So anyways, we're letting that one run. Just this pound dollar. I'm not even going to say anything about the pound dollar because I have nothing to say about the pound dollar. However, dollar CAD is a very interesting one as well. If we continue to see some movement in the direction of US dollar strength, which I think we could still see some of that coming, then the dollar CAD, and especially with oil prices slipping and the US dollar continuing to at least hold on to some amount of rally, then this is still a great trade. We actually have a pending order set on this that we are not yet in, and I hope everyone has this pending order. Members, make sure you go and look at the trade section of the website and get the exact details on this one. But I like the break of this high. This is a great little area. This is just great resistance with nice consolidation below this. So as we start to break above this high right here, about the 116, 70-ish or so area, right around there, we should see a nice little move up on this dollar CAD. And so I will be happy to get into this trade. I think it's going to be a really nice little trade. I'm excited to jump into it, and I think it'll be a nice little move, a nice little mover up. We're just kind of clearing the 200 moving average on the monthly chart, and I think this is ready for a nice little, hopefully a little bit of a move higher. We could, you can see that we have these highs of 2008, 2009, kind of right in that general area, all the way up at 130. Now, do I think the dollar CAD's headed to 130? Maybe, but I don't know if that's going to be something super quick. But I think we're going to be able to get at least, at least a chunk of pips. We should be able to get 100, 150, 200 pips on this break of this high and a continuation up there. So make sure, once again, members, that you check the trade section for all the exact details, because we already have a pending order on this one. So looking very, very good, bouncing around, hanging around there. It's looking excellent. Let's look for that breakout up. You can see that the 4 hour chart has a down arrow. It's at 30%. I have no problem trading against that like crazy. So again, at least 100 pips higher, if not more, on this dollar CAD. So that's going to be a really, really good one. So we should be able to get some nice pips out of that. The other one, we had a nice dollar yen trade that closed out with about 200 pips profit. We got out of that one at about 120. Our profit target was 120. Some people stayed in it a little bit longer. I got out. It is, it's just kind of bouncing around right here. It's just kind of hanging in there. So we're going to look for more dips to buy dollar yen. But at this moment, we don't really have any new trades on this one. If you're still in it, make sure you've locked in some good profit and you just let it run. But we all made a pretty good amount of money on that dollar yen, and it should continue on. So really, really great trade there. Really excellent trade. One that I am loving, getting more and more interested in, is our Aussie New Zealand trade. So remember, we've talked about this Aussie New Zealand. Remember, these kinds of pairs right here, or these kinds of moves don't easily reverse. They take a little bit of time. We got into the Aussie New Zealand a couple of pips ago. It's against us a few pips, nothing big. But the Aussie New Zealand has had these two big monthly candles that have just mashed down. They've just gone totally crazy. Over 2 months there, the Aussie New Zealand has dropped 800 pips. So really nice move down, and it's dropped right down into all of this historic support down here. So I love this trade. I want to make sure everything can hold nicely and then it can kind of hang in there. But it looks really, really good. And we definitely want to look for buying opportunities off of these lows down here. So we're just kind of holding on to Aussie New Zealand. If you're not in it yet, look for price patterns and reasons to get in and so on. Breakouts. We've got a pretty nice setup on the 1 hour chart to start trading that back towards the 200 moving average, 91%. We're about we're doing pretty good on the max pips. Everything is looking good there. Yes, Bo. Yep. Absolutely. And you can see that this little, we hit a low here about 104.30, and it seems to be kind of holding pretty well there. This trend line, hopefully if we get a nice little break of this trend line, that can kind of start that upward movement and give it a nice little push again. Even the 4 hour chart's not looking bad. The 15-minute chart's not looking bad. Everything's a little bit on the, slight oversold side, except for the 1 hour chart, which is on a pretty extreme oversold side. So great little trade here. If it goes against us a little bit more, then yes, we'll definitely hedge that position and let it kind of bounce around. This is one of those things where it makes this kind of a big move. As you can see here, makes that kind of big move, and it will probably consolidate and bounce around, and it could be making some sort of inverted head and shoulders pattern. You never know. It could be making a big break for it. You never know. It could be doing one of a bunch of things, but we've got our position covered at the areas mentioned in the notes. All the notes and details are accurate, and so make sure, members, to have a look at the notes. Everything in there is up to date. So whatever those say, that's exactly what we're doing on this trade currently. And we may be adding some different variations to our buy position, but for the moment, we just kind of want to let those details play out, and we'll kind of see how this thing goes. Now, if this starts pushing some of these levels, I don't know that I'm going to jump on any kind of, this is a huge move down. If this were to break below parity, then we would have something significant. But I don't know. This is right at that just above parity level that has held for 20 years, and currencies are infamous for really holding those long historic levels, and I think this could hold for another while longer. So we're keeping an eye on this. We're buying off that support and kind of seeing how it goes. Yeah, potentially, Bo. Yeah, absolutely. And I will update that in the notes. I kind of know where you're going with all that. So yeah, I'll update the notes, and I'll make sure to send them out to members. So just make sure you check Telegram, because I think I will make some slight changes on this position. Absolutely. Okay, so that is our Aussie New Zealand trade, and I think this one is super great. So again, we're watching for price patterns. We're looking for breaks of trend lines and some of those details. And we'll just kind of see how everything goes there with this pair. So absolutely, but we're very excited about buying these dips and trading this thing right back on up again. Gold has had some interesting, wild, and crazy moves, but really the only things that I'm interested in right now are Aussie New Zealand, Euro dollar getting to our target and then potentially giving us some buying opportunities, and dollar CAD giving us a break of this high and continuing on up 1, 2, even 300 pips higher. So we have some great trades in the works. I'm super excited about these. We're already in Aussie New Zealand. We're waiting for dollar CAD, and we're already in Euro dollar, and we're looking for that to just hit our target, get us out with some fantastic profit, and then potentially look for a little bit of a pullback there. We'll see how that goes, But yeah, those are the only things I wanted to mention. We just had a couple little quick updates here. Remember, we're not going to have any live sessions the rest of this entire week because we have a big holiday right in the middle of the week. So this is it, but for members, the notes will be updated. I'll kind of keep an eye on things from day to day and just update the notes, but we have a very big, crazy, exciting, wild, fantastic week coming next week as we go into the new year. Lots of good things to talk about, a couple new things to do and see, and so we'll take it from there. And Gerhard, yeah, New Zealand dollar, you can see New Zealand dollar is making a nice little pullback. There's nothing really too new to talk about on that one for the moment. we're just kind of letting it hold. It's slowly kind of finding a bit of a base here, so we'll see how that New Zealand dollar does over the next little bit. But yeah, nothing too crazy there. And I really don't have any other comments on any other pairs besides these ones. I've looked at all the pairs, I've looked at everything, and there's nothing I'm interested in for at least this entire week until next week. Yeah, so we do have Bo. We've got a couple of arrows on the Aussie dollar. But yeah, I don't think I'll be doing anything on the Aussie dollar this week either. I think this one is just going to kind of play out for a little while. The 4-hour chart's starting to get kind of interesting. The 1-hour chart almost hit. I don't think I'm going to trade any of these other setups. Just dollar CAD, ride that euro dollar out, and continue to manage the Aussie New Zealand for this week. And Dave. Yeah, I'm not really looking at any other euro trades for the moment. Now, again, these are just things that I'm interested in this week. Remember, just this week. We're going to have very, very minimal volume all week long, and so there will be some great trades coming up in about a week or so. But I don't see anything that's too worth getting into at this moment, besides the ones that I've talked about. Adrian, that's a good question, and not necessarily. There's other things going on in the UK that can be contributing to some pound weakness, but it's a bit of a even battle right now between dollar strength and or weakness and pound strength and or weakness. So yeah, couple of things to consider there, but I'm not going to even worry about any of those this week. I'm just watching euro dollar, Aussie New Zealand, dollar CAD all week long. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, guys, I'm going to get this recording posted. Remember, members, the notes will be updated in just a couple of moments, and you guys can see those. And for the rest of everybody, have a very happy, fantastic new year. I'm very much looking forward to the whole upcoming year of trading and profits, and I've got a couple new exciting things in the works that I hope will be exciting for everybody. And we're going to go for it. So see you all next Monday. Have a great week. Happy New Year. And let me get this recording up for everyone.